YouTube captures some of Twitch's extra time, and it's all sorts of weird. So yada da da da. Now we're starting, and if you see this on YouTube, I apologize. Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to our live letter number 43, Overview and Thoughts. This was the part 1 live letter detailing the content that will be available in patch 4.3. For the most part, we guessed a lot of the things that would be in this, though we were definitely still surprised to see them spoken about at this time. There's also some things in here that are going to be very controversial, and I'll probably have to make additional videos discussing my thoughts in detail on those specific things. You'll know what we're talking about when we get there. Before we actually get started though, shout out to Iluna and Hezkezel from the Reddit Discord community. Last few live letters, we've just been using their text translations on the live stream itself. They do an excellent job, especially under these high pressure situations, to get us all the content and images so that we can have an awesome live letter. They're not doing this for me, but it makes this video a lot better. I guess I should make that clear. Do it for all the community in the Reddit Discord. So if you're ever wondering where I get these translations, go to Reddit, go to their Discord, and it's under the translations and mining section on the website. So without further ado, let's get started. Patch 4.3, here is the key art for it, although I'm sure it actually shows well for the most part. And the name of the patch is going to be Under the Moonlight. Now, it doesn't have an official date as of yet, but they said it will be in late May, so probably May 22nd or May 29th. And due to reasons I'll detail later, we can't predict exactly which one. I'm leaning towards my personal prediction of May 22nd because they said that they actually have enough. They actually could have had the patch released mid-May, but they had already decided on doing it late May, so they're just going to stick with their current scheduling plan. They also said this will be the conclusion of the Doma chapter, and they're just making some last-minute adjustments before the story for this patch will actually be ready. So moving on, what content will there be? Well, a lot of it's the content we've all grown to expect over the years. Of course, new main scenario quests. We have a couple of images here, one of Yatsuyu and Hien, one of Alphino and Garly in general standing behind him. And yeah, looks like he's going to do something to Alphino. Anyway, so then there's new side quests. The four lords will be getting new side quests, but not what we expected. This is where my predictions start to go wrong. In 4.2, we had Byakuo, and it looks like we're going to be continuing the story in a slightly different direction than initially anticipated. So if you see this image right here, you can see it's Genbu, Tataru in a new outfit, and the Warrior of Light. And you can see there's a figure shrouded in their Aramatama across from the area at the end of Hell's Lid. This image shows that it looks like, at the very least, that it is no other than Soroban. It looks like Soroban's been conquered by his Aramatama while being exposed to situations. I'm assuming Koryu has something to do with this happening in the first place, but there's no trial for the four lords this patch. So I'm assuming we'll have to rid Soroban of his Aramatama in a solo instance. And that means that one of our other predictions that we had is also very wrong because of that. We won't be fighting Seiryu or Suzaku in this patch by the looks of it. Moving on, there's also going to be more Helterbrand quests. I still haven't done the 4.25 Helterbrand, but I've heard that they were hilariously written. So now I've really got to hop on that. New beast tribes, just as we all predicted here, it is the Namazu. Yeah, buddy. Yoshi says they actually piss him off when he looks at them. Now, one thing to note, this is going to be a beast tribe for crafters and gatherers. Not just crafting, there will also be quests for gatherers, so you can use it to level both of them, we are presuming. So then you can see another image of them right here. It's also going to be having to do with the Azim Steppe and the Aura tribes that live there. So very interested to see the way that side story actually develops. I think the Beast Tribe stories have been pretty well told so far, so I'm interested in seeing how this one goes. We're also going to be getting another set of new side quests, the Dolmen Reconstruction. Now, this is going to be the second part of the Dolmen Reconstruction series. You have to go back and do the first part at this point, so go look up where those are and how to get through those. Now, there is the Dolmen Enclave in Yanjia, and it has an aetherite, but you can't really use, there's nothing to do in the Dolmen Enclave. So we were told that we would begin rebuilding the Dolmen Enclave in 4.3, and that some very prevalent characters from the main scenario quests would be a part of the new Dolmen Reconstruction quests. This is information from older live letters that we're mixing with newer ones, so I'm very interested to see how the story of the Dolmen Reconstruction actually pans out. So, moving forward, it's not an even numbered patch, it's an odd numbered patch, but anyway. One new instance dungeon in odd numbered patches, and this was a prediction I managed to get right: the Swallow's Compass, which is indeed the tomb that is in Yanjia. You see it most of the time. You go to the western side of Yanjia. It's kind of hard to miss, but it's not just an indoor dungeon. It is outdoors as well. So I'm excited. I was really hoping we were going to get to explore in there at some point, and well, I'm excited. That's it. And Yoshida specifically praises the BGM, so now I'm even more excited because I feel like I haven't gotten enough original Soken music this expansion, mostly probably because of Omega being like all old themes. Even in the Four Lords, they use one of the themes from Final Fantasy XI in the zone itself. So I feel like we've gotten a lot of remastered music, which is great. Soken does a good job with them, but I love Soken's original stuff, like the Byaku theme. So I'm really excited to see what he put together for this dungeon. Now the new trial is they won't tell us who the new trial is. There's a normal and an extreme. All they'll tell us is it's part of the main scenario. So we'll do the normal mode in the main scenario, and then the extreme once we're done with it in the main scenario. Now they're keeping it such a secret that they won't even put the boss in the trailer. So even when we're watching the trailer, they won't put the boss in there. I'm very curious to see who it is. I think we all have a very similar prediction as to who it will be. I think there's one person in particular who we all think it's going to be based on the events of 4.2 story. That being said, I can't think it will be that simple. So I have a feeling that as much as I expect that person to play a part of it, I also expect it to completely throw a curveball that I'm not expecting. So we'll just have to wait and see what it actually ends up being. Now, the next 24-man raid, part of the Evolution, the Return to Ivalice raid series, it is the Ridorana Lighthouse. I think Sly predicted this. No, Sly predicted something else. Sly actually didn't want to make a prediction on this, but I saw a lot of people guessing the Pharos at Ridorana were specifically just saying the Ridorana Lighthouse because I guess they don't want to say Pharos again. And I wonder if we'll be outside in the Ridorana Cataracts prior to that. Also, there's a certain big old dragon outside the Ridorana Lighthouse in Final Fantasy XII. You might know him. He's out of the way, you know. He's not at the entrance, but there's Yasmat's at the Ridorana Cataracts. So I wonder if he's going to be the doorman. We'll see. We'll see about that. There is an actual dragon that is a doorman for the Pharos at Ridorana, and there's actually a lot of boss possibilities for the Ridorana itself. Famfrit is definitely one that pops up. In Final Fantasy XII, Hashmal appears there, but since we've already fought him, we don't expect to see him. There's also Pandemonium and the other 4 bosses that are there, although I don't think we'll actually get to see those. We'll see what actually ends up happening. So, curious, but it looks great. Inside the I keep calling it the Pharos at Ridorana, the Ridorana Lighthouse, and I'm curious to see where the story is going to go here. Also, they said that there's going to be a crafter and gatherer centered side story attached to the Alliance raid. So if you're a crafter or gatherer, you're getting quite a bit this patch. You're going to have your Namazu beast tribes, and you're going to have this side story that's attached to the Alliance raid as well. That hopefully expands a little bit on the story that is going on in there, or at least with the characters that involves them. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, so this was one of the big details that I heavily disagree with the choice of doing in this patch. From now on, Alliance raids, from here on out, Alliance raids will have an all greed loot system, meaning you cannot need on loot. Everybody has to greed. Now, the main reason that's listed for this is and I'm going to quote this from an unofficial translation, this is to ensure main jobs who want to roll equipment for their sub-jobs will have a chance in getting for their sub-job, and everything will get a fair chance in rolling for it without someone needing the equipment you want for a sub-job. So basically, it's to help gear up your alts, your alt jobs. So I have a few things to say about this. One, if you want gear for a job, play it. Hey, guess what happens when you play the job? You get the need button. Now, some might argue, hey, what if you don't meet the item level on that job? Then go get the item level for that job. I'm just saying, I don't agree with this at all. I think this is silly. First of all greed means that, yeah, people still get loot locked. You know, people are still going to, still going to get loot locked if they pick something. So you can't just have everyone greed on everything. That won't happen. But what is going to happen is jobs that have longer queues or roles that have longer queues, specifically the tank role, are going to be under fire here. If there's only 3 tanks allowed in an alliance, but all of your DPS happen to play tank as their main and just went DPS to get the faster queue, or just so they didn't actually have to play tank, they're now rolling against the tank who actually needs that shit for his main job and isn't someone who does the hardcore raids. So now they're getting... You can see the problem I have with this. The weekly loot lockout will mitigate it a little bit at first, but if then when the loot lockouts are removed, it's still all greed, then it creates an entire other issue of problems. I think this is a bad move. I hope we can give them feedback to not do it, and I hope they listen to that feedback, because this pissed me off probably more than anything. I don't even need the loot from it. Conceptually, it pisses me off. So don't do it. If you want loot for something, play it. That's simple as that for me. But anyway, we have to move on. So let's go. Deep Dungeon. The next Deep Dungeon got announced. It is indeed Heaven on High, which everyone has been predicting. It's the huge tower that's over in the Ruby Sea. Look at some pictures right here. There you go. They only showed us some pictures from the outside. Nothing we haven't really seen before. The new Deep Dungeon will be for level 60 plus, meaning that they did not want to invalidate the previous Palace of the Dead as a leveling option from 1 to 60, so this will fill you in from 60 to 70 as probably another new leveling option. Now, it's going to start with 100 floors, and you can play it solo or in a party of up to 4 players like the original, but with the way they did the original set of floors, you had to go to floor 101 before you got to what was considered the high difficulty portion. And people who got past that would, of course, tell you that really it doesn't get hard until after 150. The floor 140 boss, I guess, could be an exception, but it's really 151 plus where the difficulty spikes insanely, and then 181 plus where it gets insane. Now it's only going to be floor 31 for the higher designed high-end challenges. I'd imagine floor 31 is closer to floor 101, and that it will escalate more quickly to get you to the 151 plus difficulty. But it also tells me that potentially the story itself may end at floor 30, at least for this first iteration of Heaven on High. And I'm curious to see where that actually ends up going. We don't know how it's going to differ from Palace of the Dead other than this way the floors are laid out. They did give us one additional detail, that there will be grand summoning inside of the Heaven on High, meaning your party can use Magitech to summon a primal of some kind inside of the dungeon itself. Now, this is, in referencing this, they mentioned the guild versus guild style grand summoning, as this was the name of the content when they expected to have primals roaming around the open world and to have guilds fight for the right to summon them a single time in content of their choosing. Now, it looks like they've benched that idea and are including grand summoning in the new Deep Dungeon itself. And they said that they've still shelved the whole guild versus guild version of it, but you'll be able to do a grand summoning inside of there at the very least. They did also, and I was surprised to see them do this, they did indeed confirm the next part of Eureka. They spoke about it, and I didn't expect them to do that just yet. They confirmed that we will be getting the next zone of Eureka in patch 4.35, in that of Pagos, the ice zone, as you can see right here. Looks like a mix of Korthus from before in 1.0 to after in A Realm Reborn. So there you go, more snow. So now it's going to be hail weather, and we're going to be waiting to spawn Snoo. So yeah, or Snow Zuzu. I call him Snoo. I much prefer that name. There's going to be new quests that link Onimos to Pagos in 4.3, and Pagos itself will be released in 4.35. We, of course, expect the item level of the weapons and the armor to go up. We don't know about new models for the weapon and armor just yet, however. We expect the elemental level maximum to go up as well, and somewhere along the line, we expect them to nerf how long it takes to get through the Onimos portion of the Eureka storyline. Still a lot of questions that need answered, a lot of expectations of what they'll do to I guess, ease us into this, but we are getting another new zone, which does now lead me to firmly believe new zone in 4.35, as confirmed, new zone in 4.45, new zone in 4.55, which, as much as people were telling me was a likely thing, I never wanted to accept it. I'm actually pretty happy that they're deciding to update Eureka at that kind of pace over the rest of the expansion. Now, going forward, we do have the new Ultimate, and the Ultimate has been confirmed to be Ultima Weapon. Sly, you win this one. Ultima Weapon will be the next Ultimate. It's officially called the Minstrel's Ballad, The Weapon's Refrain. And they said, obviously you won't fight Ultima Weapon himself. Something will block us beforehand, but Gaius? Maybe? Maybe? Could be the Primals themselves, but who knows? Maybe as you defeat Primals, like Ifrit, Garuda, Titan, like harder versions of them, maybe Ultima will then absorb them one by one until you finally reach the final portion of the encounter against Ultima himself. Wouldn't be surprised to see that. But I guess it depends on exactly how it is they want to go about doing this. There's lots of options for Ultima Weapon. Could be all 6 Primals, could be the same 3, but a lot harder. Could be Gaius beforehand. Who knows? But please wait and see. We'll find out more probably in the next live letter. This fight's going to be a little shorter than the Ultimate Bahamut fight was, which we expected. Most people who have done Ultimate Bahamut agree that the fight being 20 minutes was a hell of an endurance test. And it being the Ultimate Encounter, I guess we didn't talk about it too much till after we had beaten it, but even the World First group said to Yoshida's face, 20 minutes is too long, 15 minutes would be a better time for the encounter. So I expect this to be closer to the 16-minute mark on a personal note. But they're going to be doing a bunch of new visuals with the current existing assets like they did with Golden Bahamut. So I'm really excited to see what they have in store for us there. Job adjustments, Dark Knight Samurai and Astrologian will be getting job adjustments. They didn't say buffs or nerfs, but I think we can at least guess Dark Knight and Samurai getting buffs. And I've heard Astros in my chat were saying something about their MP usage or knocked stance potentially seeing something, but who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. There was some slight mention of Black Mage, so maybe Black Mage was getting adjustments, but it's not made entirely clear here. So I don't know. We'll see. PvP updates. The HUD's going to be changed to make it easier to track player buffs and statuses. They're going to be revising the Crystal Training Grounds map. I'm assuming they're going to change the respawn, the way the respawns work now, because that's a major complaint that they've been getting from members of the PvP community. So I'd imagine if they're revising it, they're probably making it so you actually have a home side that you spawn from again. So that way they can properly incorporate that. Fingers crossed for those PvPers who have been complaining about it, but we don't know that for certain yet. They're also finally incorporating the daily campaign rotation for Frontlines. Basically, every different day, a certain map in Frontlines will be the highlighted map, and that'll be the map that you do. This basically means that they're going to be trying to get trying to basically give you a different experience every day you want to do Frontlines. I don't know if it's just a daily roulette or if you're literally only allowed to play a single map per day. I think you're only going to be allowed to play a single map per day, but we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, it should mean that you actually get to do some of the old Frontline modes. And obviously, it says Frontlines and not Rival Wings. So keep that in mind. I don't think Astrologos will be on that rotation. Glamour system update. Items that you convert to glamours in the dresser can now be reclaimed, which was the #1 request people had, and it was an expectation that we had when the content was first announced. So that's awesome. The name of who crafted the equipment will not be maintained, though. So if that's something that's important to you, it's worth noting. Let's see. Adventurer Squadron can be dressed using the Glamour Dresser. Performance is going to be getting new animations, new note sounds, and they've basically fixed the quality of a lot of the sounds. Yoshida thinks they may be going a little overboard on performance, but especially on the UI aspects. But, that was just his personal piece. That's what they're doing, and that's what they've done. Next up, we had housing updates, guest books. Basically, people can go to your house when you're offline and leave you messages and say if they like your house or stuff like that. And also, there's going to be the mannequin feature, which will be tied to the market board. It's apparently to allow more roleplay functionality for those who love RP. Now, I'm assuming what they mean by that is, at first I thought they were just meant you could sell mannequin pieces on the market board, but somebody suggested to me that maybe if a piece of glamour is on a mannequin and it's available on the market board, that you could then choose to purchase it through the mannequin itself. Like, oh, I really like that shirt. Oh, it's available on the market board. I can grab it. But it wasn't explained in extensive detail. So that's all I'll say. It's linked to the market board somehow, the mannequin feature. Let's see. Moving on. Additional updates. We're getting Duty Roulette Raid. This will be the normal mode raid. Specifically, it looks like they mentioned Alexander, which would mean A1 through 12 normal. There's no mention of the Binding Coil, which I wouldn't expect to make an appearance here. And there's no mention of the current normal mode Omega raids. Not to say they won't be there. There's just no mention of them. There's going to be a new NPC as a delivery client. It will not be a Makote, and you'll be able to dress them up. Cross-world link shells are finally coming, meaning that probably within the same data center, you can invite people to a link shell from across other servers. Now, currently, it's going to be capped at 64 people while they check stability of the feature. And then once they've determined if it's stable, they'll be able to add a higher maximum to the cross-world link shells. Now, the next section is where things got spicy, because this next section is not something I'm going to do, but it's also not something I'm going to defend. So they finally revealed the Final Fantasy XIV companion app. This has been an application they've been talking about for a very long time, a mobile app that connects to the game itself to give you certain functionality so that you can handle things while you're not home. That sounds great on the surface. Let's dive into the app itself. So the description, as you can see here, App Store, Google Play. You launch the app, link it to your Square Enix account, designate a character to use with the app, and then you'll be logged in automatically to that character every time you launch the app. Now, by using this app, you can register an additional favored destination aetheryte, meaning a reduced cost for your teleports. So that's at least one reason to have it used and installed. But after that, so anyway, moving on. There's a free plan and a premium plan for this mobile app. The free plan is free. The premium plan is not. It's about 500 yen a month, so it's about $5 US dollars. Not going to translate that to all the other currencies, but all right, that's already a bit of a concern. So what does the free and premium do? Both free and premium have a chat and a scheduler. You can chat to people. It automatically syncs up with your friends list in the game and communicates with others. You can communicate with others via the app. You can use a scheduler, plan events, issue invites to chat rooms, configure notifications, all stuff you'd expect from a standard chat app, or you could use Discord. But anyway, moving on. You can manage your inventory, and you can organize your inventory and armory chest from the mobile app. Cool. You can only organize your saddlebags and retainer inventories on the premium plan. Okay, you know what? I don't really care. I don't need to maintain my inventory on the go. I don't need that. So premium plan, who cares, right? Who really care? Oh, okay. All right. Now we're getting a problem. So the premium plan will double the capacity of your saddlebag and will raise the cap on your additional retainers. Now, there's 3 concerns here somehow in the matter of 2 things. One, holy moly, I can't believe that the saddlebag capacity being doubled is tied to this. 2, an additional retainer can be hired. Can be. Now, it doesn't say that a free retainer can be hired. It just says it raises the cap to 10 retainers that can be hired, which means if you still can't go above the 2 cap, just means it's another $2 a month off the Mog Station. And problem number 3 is this exists. So anyway, moving on. Then you can use the market board, peruse the market board, put items up for sale or purchase items with the free or premium. Cool. Market board. I can use that on the free version. Awesome. Or is it? So, every day you log in to this companion app, you'll receive a Kupo Nut. And the Kupo Nut is what allows you to purchase items on the market board. You give it to your Moogle that is on the app, Kupo, give him the nut, and he'll go and buy the stuff. You get one of those a day, and they're required for the market board. And if you get the premium plan, you get more nuts. You get an additional nut every day, and your maximum nut increases. It's not over. On top of that, if you want to do even more market board shenanigans, you can get Moogle coins, which is a currency in the app. Now, it's never said that you have to purchase Moogle coins. It also never says you get them for free. So, let me put all this together. Let me put all this in perspective for you. And Moogle coins can be used for the same things Kupo Nuts can be used for, pretty much. And that they'll add additional services for coins later. So let me just put this in perspective. So it's $5 a month to increase your retainer slot Not higher the retainer, just increase the maximum. Double your saddlebag. Use the market board. Get more market board stuff, and then you can buy those Moogle coins if you're really that desperate. Now, a part of me likes the fact that they limit how often you can use the market board on the go, because, let's be honest, if I could just freely mess with the market board on the go, you would never sell anything because I'd be looking at that shit 24/7. So limiting it seems like a normal choice, right? Having a limit, okay. The fact that the premium gets double the nuts, giggity, and that you can then get the coins is where the problem starts to line in. Now, very simply put, I will not use this app. I might install it for the favored destination, but I won't use it because I don't agree with it and I won't pay for it. And that's my way of speaking out against it. On top of saying I just don't agree with the whole thing right now. I have a feeling that the passionate fans of Final Fantasy XIV will have much harsher realities or much harsher words if it's something that bothers them. And I welcome you to have those harsher words because I totally get it. Because I don't agree from this from pretty much any standpoint. I also just won't let it bother me because, quite frankly, I don't care. I'm not going to use it. It's not going to matter for me. I don't need the market board to be that accessible. And if somebody really wants it to be that accessible, it seems like you're going to be spending quite a bit on those Moogle coins. So you have fun spending your money. I'll have fun not spending my money. Sounds like a plan? Got it. With that, they did a little demonstration of it. They had a couple of errors. They showed some of the user interfaces with the different people in them. Showed him using his nuts. Showed them using the scheduling calendar, as you can see right here, to schedule events and raids and stuff like that with an exact time and what duty it's going to be or what event it's going to be. You can access your inventory in your armory. So he was going through that and he was organizing the items, as you can see here. And then he went to the market board and used his daily nut to sell it, to put an item up on the board. You can see he's got 2 items up there. So then he was like, all right, I'm going to sell this item while I'm at it. And then this is it telling you that it's sending your data to the game itself. And yeah, then you're good. So I have to make an entirely separate video about that because I'm far from done from talking about it. But that's all we're going to say in this video for the time being. Anyway, they're currently working on it. They're debugging the Android version because they're having more issues with the Android version, but we'll see. Then they took a 10-minute break because after they spent the nut, they just had to take a break. And they showed us a couple of music videos for Titan and Rise from the Primals, went over their show dates, one of them sold out. And then we had the second half of the live letter where FoxClon, the guy who's always sitting next to Yoshida, actually was also the official guest, talking about his position in the company, being a global community producer, handles the GM team, community team, customer support team, works with the special task force, and he doesn't just handle Japan, he also handles Los Angeles and London. So this man basically does a ton of stuff. He explained how game masters work, how they alternate between shifts, and that it's ultimately a 24-hour position. Talked about how he always looks nice, but sometimes he gets angry. He just wouldn't punch Yoshi P in the face. They talked about FoxClon and how close he is to Yoshida, specifically when Yoshida broke down when A Realm Reborn officially relaunched, and how FoxClon felt very much the same way. Talked about bot measures in PvP and how the Special Task Force, I'm going to put this in quotes, sorry, handles them. I put it in quotes because I don't, outside of the most recent report, I don't know how much that really got done. But anyway, on the European servers having issues, on the unofficial translation, it was just going too fast to keep up. But basically, he just went over how DDoSes affect the servers overall. And people are just asking about it because the Chaos data center has been a little bit meh over the last couple of weeks. So they talked about, the process of dealing with DDoSes from a company standpoint. And there wasn't really much to take away from that. Then they spent a very long time talking about the different ways that penalties are handled in game. Temporary suspensions, permanent suspensions, different tiers of warnings, and 24-hour suspensions and permanent suspensions. And the GM, they showed a picture of the GM, and then they showed the picture in the Gordion jail, which is the official jail that your character will be sent to while you're being handled. Can't use any of your actions to get out or warp away or escape the situation. And this is just, if you're interested in this, this is kind of just like very basic things that I guess if you mess with the online communities very frequently, like I do, you're probably very familiar with processes like this. So there's not a whole lot to talk about when it comes to going through all this. But if you're someone who wants to read up more on it, of course, all these screenshots are here. And then they'll be there. They then moved away from that, started showing off the winners from the gear design contests that happened recently. I assume these are going to be in the new dungeon in Swallow's Compass. But, you know, you have the caster. That's an awesome caster set. I actually love that caster set right there. That's a caster set. That's the winner of the caster competition. That is the healer competition right there. This is the tank one right here. This is the melee one right here. These are the only 4 that they showed, but I really like I think the caster one is my favorite. Like that I like that. That's cool. That's a cool. I thought that was like the monk set or something. That's the caster set. That's awesome. Closest thing, it reminds me of a summoner. And then this is another glamour thing that they're going to be adding sometime soon. So let's see. Event home event they hold on right now. Transmitting people applying for it. And then they went over additional announcements. The Eorzean Symphony, reminder of the dates in Los Angeles and in Germany. They also talked about they're going to be doing a preview live stream for it that's going to be translated by Koji, and that's going to be on April 22nd. Just letting you know, I guess, more stuff about the orchestra concert and tips for enjoying it to its fullest. That's actually next week on Sunday, so 8 days from when we're watching this right now. The Primals' first album releases late May 2018 in Japan and NAEU, so worldwide, and it'll be $33 for the album. New songs alongside previous hits from the arrangement albums, so sure to go and grab that. Another reminder of the Primals Tour, which was also during the half part. This in Saturday, June 2nd, June 3rd, and then June 24th in Zep Nagoya, Zep Osaka Bayside, and Zep Sapporo. So tickets are $68, standing room only. So if you're in Japan, go enjoy those. An official crafting and gathering guide in Japan, which is going to be about $18, or I guess since it's only in Japan, 1,820 yen, tax included. So that's going to be available to help players who need help with crafting and gathering, especially if you're new. They have an official version of it now. And look, the pages weren't blank. It's like an actual fully printed version. And it looks like there's a comic book on the inside right there. Look, you can't tell me that doesn't look like a comic book on the inside. Kind of does. They're also in Japan going to be doing a collaboration with Monster Energy Drinks, which will give you in-game items if you purchase them at a 7-Eleven from Monday, April 16th to Sunday, May 20th. I'd assume that it just gives you potions, but who the hell knows what it's actually going to give. Maybe teleport tickets. I don't know. Doesn't say what the item will be. Maybe it's Monster Energy. Maybe it'll be like the honey buns that we had, the ones that we had around Stormblood's launch. Maybe it'll just be 4% EXP or something like that. They're doing more stat recruitment, and then there's the link if you want to try to get a job at Square Enix. I'd assume specifically on the Japanese side of things, but go take a look at it. Let's see, they are looking for more people working in 14 because they do think of expanding the game even bigger. Next up, they have this under the weight special edition for USJ, Hollywood Dream The Ride. So it's a Hollywood Dream The Ride, but it's a special Titan version of it. The collaboration with Universal Studio Japan. It's going to be using the songs from Final Fantasy XIV, and specifically it's using Titan's song. Okay. Foxconn went to Boston last week. Yoshida went to Saudi Arabia last week. Now, there will be a second part of the live letter, but they didn't give us a date on the second part of the live letter. Now, that's smart to do because I can predict when the patch will be if they give us the date. I can tell you right now, though, based on the late May comment, the next live letter will either be on May 11th, 12th, 18th, or 19th. I'm basically just covering those 4 days because it could be a Friday or a Saturday for the next live letter. But the thing is, like, let's say it's going to be on May 12th. That's a Saturday. Usually anywhere from 9 to 10 days after a live letter is when the next patch will be. So that would mean the patch would be May 22nd. And then if it's on May 19th, it would mean that it would most likely be May 29th for the actual patch. So that's as soon as we get that news, I'll get it out to you, because then we'll probably be able to start calling our works to take off, or at least those of you who need to do it. And that's it. And that's from the entire live letter. So a lot of content in 4.3. I didn't expect to hear about Eureka. I didn't expect to hear about Deep Dungeon. I didn't expect the main scenario quest, although a lot of people did. So kudos to you who made that prediction. And I'm excited. There's some good stuff in here. I'm curious about more of the little quality of life things, and for some more details on the Deep Dungeon itself and what the actual scheduling has looked like. Will Ultimate be delayed by 2 weeks? They didn't say. Is Deep Dungeon, Eureka, and Helterbrand all 4.35? I'd assume most likely, but we still need that information, and we need to know exactly what they're doing with some of the other features that they mentioned as well. Not looking forward to that companion app, which I believe is also coming out on 4.3. But that's going to be a video on itself, so let's just wait for that one. But anyway, that's going to be a wrap for this video. Again, thank you to Aluna for your translations over on the Reddit Discord, and Hezkezel for posting all of these images. If you want to check out the Reddit Discord, I'll include a link in the description. If you're watching me live on Twitch, you can actually type !doc, which would actually just tell you there is no document. Go to the Reddit Discord, and that'll work as well. So anyway, I will see all of you in the next video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned because we got some spicy conversation coming up over the next several days regarding certain things in this live letter. I'll see you guys in the next one, and until then, take care. And hopefully those of you on YouTube don't catch the end of this little section on Twitch because